Do you know, in the last 10 years, over 10 advocates have been killed, have been murdered, and yet the public and the National Police Service Commission and the government is not saying anything? I give the Inspector General of Police 0 out of 10 in the manner they handled Ndegwa Njiru. The ODPP, the DPP refused to charge Ndegwa. And this is a wake-up call to the police that the era of targeting advocates, to arrest them, to murder them, is long over. An attack on one of them is an attack on all of us. Welcome to Court Helicopter Trending Issues. This is about the attack on advocates, the arrests on advocates, the killing of advocates. The lives of advocates is in danger. I, Danstan Omari, am an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I'm part of the advocates' life whose lives are in danger. And I stand in solidarity with all the advocates and officers of the court in this country to condemn the blatant attacks, the arrests, the killings of our brothers and sisters. The learned colleagues community is under attack. A brief history will tell you that Section 4 of the Advocates Act mandates the advocates, the Law Society of Kenya, to speak on behalf of those who cannot speak, to fight for the public interest, to ensure a serious and robust checks and balances are provided against the excesses of the government. Many of you and many of us do not know the history and the importance of advocates in this country. A brief reminder of the history of this country. Under President Moi, the late president, made Kenya a one-party state. It is advocates, young Turks, who led the fight for multiparty. Stalwarts like Paul Muite, Senior Counsel Paul Muite, Senior Counsel James Orengo, Wakili Koiwa Mwere, Wakili Gitobu Imanyara, Wakili Shamala. These were advocates who stood firm. Even before the coming of the multi-party era, advocates like Piogama Pinto were senior advocates who fought for the independence of this country. Advocates have had a leading role in providing leadership, especially in checking the excesses of government. Bramwell went to the library and brought a horrifying event. Do you know, in the last 10 years, over 10 advocates have been killed, have been murdered, and yet the public and the National Police Service Commission and the government is not saying anything? Let us get the chronology of advocates who have died in the line of duty. In 2009, Oscar Kamau Kingara was murdered. In 2016, Willie Kimani was murdered in a police station at Mlolongo. In 2021, Elizabeth Koki Musyoki was murdered. This is an advocate. In 2025, my lecturer, my friend, Matthew Chalombob was murdered, shot dead in cold blood. To date, nobody has been arrested and arraigned in court. 2026, we are half the year. 3 advocates have been murdered. Early this year, Tom Ouya Imbokwa was murdered. Nobody has been arrested and arraigned in court. Today, last week, and this week, Esther Wairimu Kigi, a senior advocate working for the Kenya Forest Services, was reported missing. Her body was found on Juja Farm, murdered. She was working for government. She was not in private sector, which says the attack on advocate is not only on those who are in private practice. Then we have Edward Muthei Kariuki, who was murdered outside his house. Nobody has been arrested. No evidence that the police are doing what they are doing. On behalf of myself and the crew of Court Helicopter, we wish to pass our condolences to the families of the advocates who have been murdered, who have been killed in the line of duty, in cold blood. It is a wake-up call to all our colleagues in the legal fraternity that our lives are in danger. We take an oath to defend anybody in conflict with the law. Our oath is to defend the rule of law. Yet, we are being killed, we are being murdered. This is completely unacceptable. The second limb is the blunted arrest of advocates. On my own behalf, on behalf of the Court Helicopter, we condemn strongly the arrest of Wakili Ndegwa Njiru. This was a traffic issue. Ndegwa was not the driver. The vehicle broke down. It is the driver who was supposed to be arrested and the vehicle to be towed. But because Ndegwa Njiru has a stand to defend the rule of law, like it, hate it, on this one, it's not about politics, whether Ndegwa supports DCP or is against UDA. It is an attack on every advocate. This was a serious affront to the dignity of an advocate. The police denying Ndegwa Njiru cash bail, an officer of the court, over a traffic offense. This raises one question. The lawyers in parliament, those lawyers in parliament and the members of parliament, why don't we have the law regulating cash bail at the police station? Why is it left at the discretion of the OCS? Ndegwa Njiru, my friend, my colleague, is lucky this offense did not happen at the eve of Easter. If this incident happened on the eve of Easter and he was arrested on Thursday, he could have stayed on Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday to be arraigned in court on the 6th day. That's Tuesday. Or if it happened on the eve of Christmas, Ndegwa Njiru could have stayed as a criminal in a police station. This is what no advocate will want to undergo. This is not what the law and the Constitution envisaged the treatment of advocates. This scares young kids who want to do law from doing law because they see the profession is a profession where one is likely to be arrested or be murdered. That conduct is unbecoming. From Court Helicopter, we wish to, and on my behalf, celebrate the office of the Director of Public Prosecution. It stood firm and rejected the police attempt to scuttle Ndegwa Njiru's role as an advocate. The ODPP, the DPP refused to charge Ndegwa. And this is a wake-up call to the police that the era of targeting advocates, to arrest them, to murder them, is long over. Heko kwa ofisi ya mkuu wa mashtaka. And lastly, I give the Inspector General of Police 0 out of 10 in the manner they handled Ndegwa Njiru. On the 2 advocates that have been murdered, and nobody has been arrested, investigations are not going anywhere, we urge the Director of Public Prosecution, pursuant to Article 157, to order the police to immediately investigate within 7 days and bring the file of the 2 advocates who were murdered to his desk to charge anybody culpable for murdering any advocate. And all the files of the advocates that we have mentioned from 2009 who have been killed, who have been murdered, other than the case of Willie Kimani, all the other cases, nobody has been arrested and nobody has been charged. Our appeal is to the ODPP to stand firm. The office of the ODPP is staffed by advocates. The judiciary is manned by advocates. All judicial officers, from the Chief Justice, judges of superior courts, to magistrates, to small claims courts, those are advocates. The State Law Office, where that is the AG downwards, all those are advocates. All advocates in private sector, all advocates in regulatory entities, all advocates in private commercial entities like banks, in-house advocates, all advocates in the EACC, all of them are members of the Law Society of Kenya. An attack on one of them is an attack on all of us. I wish to pass my condolences to the families of the advocates who have lost their life. We have seen how advocates, Kenyan advocates, have been treated in Uganda. Senior counsel Mother Karua cannot be given audience in Uganda. She can't be allowed to enter. That is a public humiliation on the office of an advocate. An advocate, for record purposes, is an officer of the court. Pole, my brother Ndegwa Njiru, but don't be cowed. We still stand firm. We still stand tall. We still are ready to defend the oath of office that we took. Wakili Danstan Omari. Asante.